They say the cruelest lies are the ones we tell ourselves. That tomorrow will be different. That family protects family. That love conquers all. I believed these lies for 25 years, until the morning my own blood counted silver coins while I stood barefoot in our kitchen, pretending not to understand what was happening. My name is Lyra, and in our world, a woman's worth is measured by two things: the wolf she can become, and the pups she can bear. I possessed neither. The morning mist clung to our cottage windows when I heard them arguing. My father's gravelly voice mixed with my stepmother Vera's sharp tones and my brother Marcus's nervous whispers. "The collector arrives at noon," Vera hissed. "Would you rather he take Marcus?" "At least he has a future." I kept kneading bread, though flour scattered across the worn counter. The collector, every pack feared that title. He came for the Alpha King's tribute. When harvests failed, he took bodies instead of coins. "She's still my daughter," Father protested weakly. "Your broken daughter," Vera corrected. 5 years of marriage, Garrett. 5 years and her womb never quickened. The black water pack sent her back like defective goods. Each word landed like a blow, but I'd grown armor against such wounds. They spoke as if I wasn't there, but hadn't I always been a ghost in my own life? The girl who couldn't shift at 13, the woman who couldn't conceive, the divorced female who served no purpose in a world built on bloodlines. "The king needs servants," Marcus added quietly. "Better her than you," I finally spoke, not turning. "Better the Barren sister than the future beta?" Silence fell heavy. I felt their calculating stares. "Lyra?" Father began, rising from his chair. "I understand perfectly." I turned, meeting each gaze. Vera's triumphant, Marcus's ashamed, Father's desperate. "I've understood since Theon sent me home with nothing. Since your first words were, 'What will the pack think?' Not 'welcome home,' not 'are you hurt?'" Father flinched. "Good. You'll go quietly?" Vera asked, already gathering my few belongings. I laughed, not bitter, but free. "My family? The ones who made me sleep in the storage room? Who introduced me as the help at gatherings?" Heavy footsteps echoed outside. A distinctive howl announced the collector's arrival. Through the window, I saw him, massive, scarred, with golden eyes that spoke of casual violence. Behind him waited an iron-barred wagon. "At least let her—" Marcus began. "No." I smoothed my dress, lifted my chin. "I'll take nothing from this house. I came into this world with nothing, survived a marriage with nothing, and I'll face whatever comes with nothing." The door exploded open. The collector filled the doorframe, his presence making our small kitchen feel like a cage. "The tribute?" "Me," I said, stepping forward. "I'm the tribute." But then something strange happened. His eyes narrowed, nostrils flaring. His massive frame went still, the stillness before violence or revelation. "You're the barren one. Not a question." Something in his tone made my skin prickle. "Yes." He studied me intently, then his lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Interesting. The king will be very interested." "Interested?" Father stepped forward. "But she's worthless." The collector's head snapped toward him with inhuman speed. "Worthless? You dare presume to know what the Alpha King values?" The temperature dropped. My family shrank back. "Take her belongings," the collector ordered. "I have none." "None?" He tilted his head, and I glimpsed something unexpected in those golden depths. "Respect? Then come as you are. The king is waiting." As I passed my family, the family that had just sold me, Vera grabbed my wrist. "Wait. Why would the king want?" I pulled free, following the collector into morning mist. But his parting words followed me, carrying weight that made my heart race. Because sometimes, little wolves, the universe has plans bigger than your small minds can comprehend. And sometimes what you call worthless, the king calls priceless. The wagon's bars loomed, but for the first time in 5 years, I didn't feel like a prisoner. I felt like something else entirely, something I didn't have a name for yet. The wagon rolled through territories I'd only heard about in fearful whispers. Each bump took me further from everything familiar, yet I felt no urge to look back. What was there to mourn? The collector Kane. He'd called himself rode up front, occasionally glancing back. 3 other women huddled with me, each beautiful in ways that started wars. They clutched each other, tears mixing with expensive perfume. I heard he killed his last consort, whispered Alara, a redhead. Tore her throat out when she couldn't give him an heir. No, corrected a blonde girl, barely 18. He keeps them in underground cells, uses them until they break. I pulled my knees up, letting their terror wash over me without touching my heart. What more could be taken? My wolf never emerged. My womb never quickened. My husband had discarded me. My family had sold me. But their words painted a chilling picture of Alpha King Lucian Shadowmourne. Even his name carried weight, spoken like a curse. He'd taken the throne at 17 after his father's mysterious death. Some said patricide. Others whispered of darker things. All agreed he was ruthless beyond measure. Why did they take you? Alara asked, eyeing my plain dress, my calloused hands. You're not. I'm Barren, I said simply. Silence fell. The women exchanged glancespity mixed with confusion. Then why? Because the universe has bigger plans, I quoted Kane's words, though they made no sense. Night fell as we approached the capital. I'd never seen anything like Ida City carved from the mountain itself. Black stone and glowing windows, impossible waterfalls, bridges spanning dizzying heights. At its heart rose Shadowmourne Palace, a dark crown against the stars, not beautiful in traditional ways. Magnificent like storms are magnificent, terrible, and awesome. Black towers twisted skyward, defying logic. Ravens circled endlessly, their cries echoing off stone that seemed to swallow light. Welcome to your new home, Kane said as we passed through giant gates. Or your tomb. The choice is yours. We were herded through servants' entrances, down endless spiral stairs. The pretty ones were taken first, led away by stern women. I waited, forgotten, until only Kane and I remained. You're not afraid, he observed. Fear requires hope, I replied. Hope that things could be different, that you have something left to lose. He studied me with those golden eyes. The king will find you. Interesting. You keep saying that. Why? Instead of answering, he led me through different corridors, stranger. Wall carvings hurt to look at directly. Wolves that seemed to move. Moons shifting through phases. Women transforming into beasts. The old wing, Kane explained. From before the Shadowmourne line. Before the kingdom forgot what it was. We stopped at a door marked with unreadable symbols. Beyond lay not a cell, but a chamber filled with impossible moonlight. Books lined every wall. A bed draped in silver and black. A window showing stars that couldn't be real. I don't understand. No, Kane agreed. But you will. He left, locking the door with a key that sang like crystal. I explored my strange prison books in unknown languages, constellations that wheeled in impossible patterns. The air itself tasted different, wilder. Time moved strangely. Then footsteps, not guards' measured tread, or servants' quick patter. These carried weight, authority, inevitability. The door opened without a key. He stood silhouetted, and my first thought was that stories lied. They called him monster, beast, savage. They hadn't mentioned darkness could be beautiful, that power could move with fluid grace, that eyes could hold midnight and starlight. Lucian Shadowmourne was tall enough I had to tilt my head back. Black hair fell to his shoulders, held by a dark metal circlet. Scars marked his skin, not disfigurements but decorations. Simple black clothes carried more authority than any crown, but his eyes held me. Not amber like most alphas. Silver shot through with black veins, like moonlight on dark water, ancient eyes and a face that couldn't be past 30. Lyra, he said, my name, a recognition, a summoning, a claim, at last. Your Majesty, I'm afraid there's been a mistake. I'm not what? He entered, air shifting with him. Not beautiful? Not fertile? Not whole? Tell me, little wolf who cannot shift, what are you not? No mockery came. Only curiosity, challenge. I'm not afraid of you, I heard myself say. He smiled, devastating. No, you're not. Do you know why? I shook my head. Because you've already been broken by smaller men with smaller cruelties. Because you've been told what you're not so often. You've forgotten what you are. And what am I? He stopped before me, close enough to see impossible patterns in his eyes, to smell pine smoke and winter storms. Mine, he said simply. I should have been terrified. Instead, I laughed at the absurdity. I'm Barren, I said flatly. Wolfless. My mate cast me aside. My family sold me. What could the Alpha King possibly want? His hand tilted my chin up with surprising gentleness. Your mate was a fool. Your family, bigger fools. But tell me, Lyra, did anyone ever test what you truly are? I don't understand. No, he agreed. But you will. Tomorrow, you'll stand before the entire court. Every alpha, every person who dismissed you will watch as I claim you. My heart hammered. Claim me. I can't give you heirs. Can't? His eyes flashed dangerously. That word is banned here. You'll learn new words. Power. Destiny. Mate. Mate? I whispered. Impossible. I had a mate. The bond broke. When he rejected what he couldn't understand? Lucian's voice dropped to a growl. When he threw away treasure because he was too blind to see? His hand cupped my face fully. The world tilted. Something electric passed between us not. The biological mate bond I'd shared with Theon. This was deeper, older, recognition at a cellular level. What are you doing to me? Nothing you weren't born for. Tell me, have you wondered why your wolf never emerged? Why your womb never quickened? Why you've always felt incomplete? I couldn't speak. Because yes, I had wondered, had felt that constant ache, like a song missing its final note. Your bloodline is older than the Pax, he continued. Your family forgot, diluted it until it nearly vanished. But it called to me the moment Cain saw you. That's madness. Is it? He stepped back, and I immediately missed his touch. Sleep. Dream. Tomorrow, when you stand before those who discarded you, you'll understand what you truly are. He paused at the door. Your ex-mate will be there. Theon brought his new wife, the one who gave him 3 pups in 2 years. Pain lanced through me. Good. Lucian noted my reaction. Remember that pain. Tomorrow, you'll return it 100-fold. Revenge tastes sweetest served by the mate you threw away. Wearing a crown they said you'd never deserve. Alone with impossible books and lying stars, I faced the truth everything I believed about myself was about to shatter. But first, I had to survive tomorrow. Morning came like a thief. A woman appeared ageless, with silver hair and winter frost eyes. I am Morwen, the king's seer. I'm here to prepare you. She led me through stranger corridors to a chamber carved from living rock. A pool dominated the center black water that somehow held stars. The awakening pool, she explained, fed by rivers that remember when the world was young. Every Shadowmourne bride enters these waters. Most emerge unchanged, some transformed. A rare few emerge as what they always were. And if I refuse, then you'll stand before the court as you airwolfless, barren, broken. The king will still claim you, but you'll spend your life wondering. I'd spent 5 years wondering. I entered the water. Cold hit not winter cold, but the cold between stars. Then visions cascaded through me. A woman running beneath an unround moon, shifting between human and something older. My ancestor, the first of a bloodline predating Pax. Women who walked between worlds, who carried magic for shaping reality, not just creating life. The Moonweavers, I gasped, the word rising from genetic memory. Yes, Morwen's voice came distant. Before packs neutered magic. Before they bred wild magic out for predictable shifts. The water glowed, responding to something in my blood. I felt it stirring not a wolf, but something explaining why my body refused common shifts, common cubs, common mates. Lucian knew, understanding flooded me. He knew what I was. The Shadowmourne line carries old blood too, diluted but present. Why they've held the throne. Why other alphas fear them. Why Lucian never took a mate despite every pack offering daughters. He was waiting. For you, the last Moonweaver, the one his blood recognizes as equal, as mate, as queen. I rose from the water, power rising with me. Not shifted forms or enhanced strength, but something older. Air shimmered with possibility. Stone hummed with recognition. For the first time, I felt whole. Morwen wrapped me in shadow and starlight robes. Now you're ready. But power recognized isn't power claimed. Before all who deemed you worthless, you must choose accept what you are, or remain what they made you believe. They dressed me in liquid night sky, constellation patterns shifting with each breath. The Queen's crown dark metal twisted with silver, unworn for 3 centuries. When they led me to the throne room's antechamber, I barely recognized my reflection. The plain woman was gone. Not traditionally beautiful, but compelling like storms. My eyes held silver now, my skin luminescent. The crown belonged. Ready? Cain asked. Every pack leader within 3 days' ride. Your former mate, your family, all gathered for what they assume is your humiliation. Through massive doors, I heard the crowd. Fragments reached me. The Barren one. Insult to offer her. Losing his mind. I've been ready for 5 years, I replied. I just didn't know what for. The doors swung open. Silence fell like a blade. The throne room was dark, magnificent's black pillars rising to shadows, ravens in the rafters, their eyes gleaming. At the far end, on an obsidian throne, sat Lucian. Between us stood everyone who dismissed me as worthless. I began the long walk. My father huddled with Vera and Marcus, faces cycling through shock and disbelief. Pack leaders who'd sympathized when Theon cast me aside, secretly relieved their bloodline stayed untainted. And there, among honored guests, Theon himself. 5 years had been kind to him. Golden hair still caught light. Green eyes sparkled with easy confidence. Beside him, his new mate young, pretty, fertile, hand resting on her swollen belly with their 4th pup. Our eyes met. I saw recognition dawn, shock, confusion, realization that the woman he discarded walked toward the throne wearing a queen's crown. I didn't smile. Didn't acknowledge him beyond that glance. He was past. I walked toward future. Whispers rose. Is that her? The Barren one? Impossible. She looks different. What's that crown? Why is she glowing? I reached the throne and turned. Lucian rose, commanding absolute attention with simple movement. He descended with predatory grace. Lords and ladies. His voice carried effortlessly. You expect to witness me claim another consolation prize, another fertile daughter for alliance or favor. He reached me, circling slowly. The crowd held its breath. Instead, witnessed something unseen for 3 centuries. Recognition of a true queen. Awakening of old blood. Union of Shadowmourne and Moonweaver. Gasps rippled. Older wolves stepped back, recognition and fear in their eyes. They remembered stories dismissed as myth. This cannot be, Lord Blackwater called out Theon's father. The Moonweaver line is extinct. Even if not, this woman is barren. Can't shift. My son cast her out for good reason. Lucian's smile was all teeth. Your son cast out treasure because he was too stupid to recognize it. Like a child throwing away diamonds. He raised his hand power, rippled through the room, dark and ancient. But then I raised mine. Different power answered. Silver to his shadow, starlight to his void. Perfect opposites in perfect balance. Ravens screamed. Pillars hummed. Air crackled between us. Lyra of the Forgotten Line, Lucian said formally. Last of the Moonweavers. Keeper of old magic. You deemed worthless by lesser wolves. I recognize you. I claim you. I offer not just my hand, but throne, power, soul. Will you accept? This was the moment. I could refuse, return to shadows and whispers, or step into what I was born for. I looked at Theon, his fertile wife, the life I was supposed to want, then at my father, the family who'd sold me. Finally at Lucian, who'd seen through broken surface to power beneath. I accept, I said, my voice carrying its own power, but not as possession, not as consolation, not as less than equal. I accept as queen, as moonweaver, as the mate your blood has called for. His grin was fierce, proud, feral. I would have you no other way. He kissed me before the entire court. Not gentle political alliance or desperate new love, but claiming and recognition, binding powers that shook the palace foundations. When we parted, the world had shifted. I saw it in their eyes, fear, awe, sudden recalculation. Behold your queen, Lucian commanded. Any who challenge this union may do so now. Silence stretched taut. Then Theon stepped forward, face twisted with rage and regret. This is farce, he snarled. She's barren, worthless. I know I wasted 5 years trying to breed her. Whatever tricks, whatever illusion, doesn't change what she is. Broken, defective, mine to discard. Power erupted from my instinctive, like a sleeping giant stirring. Silver light blazed. Theon flew backward, slamming into a pillar with a crack that echoed. Yours? I stepped forward, crowd parting. I was never yours. You were placeholder while my blood waited for its match. You couldn't breed me because your seed was too weak for a moonweaver's womb. Couldn't hold me because your soul was too small. I stood over him as he struggled to rise. But I should thank you. If you hadn't thrown me away, I might have spent my life pretending to be less. Might never have discovered I wasn't broken just too much for a lesser wolf. Lyra, my father's voice trembled. What have you become? I turned. What I always was. What you were too afraid to see. What you sold for 30 pieces of silver. We didn't know. Marcus stepped forward ashamed. You feared. You conformed. You threw away a gift. I looked at each father, stepmother, brother, but I forgive you. They blinked, shocked. Your cruelty led me here. Your blindness cleared my sight. Your betrayal taught me family isn't blood its choice, and I choose him. I returned to Lucian, the one who saw not what I lacked but what I was. We ascended together. Shadows writhed, reforming into 2 equal thrones. Let it be known. Lucian addressed the stunned crowd. The age of single rulers ends today. Old blood runs true. Any who challenge our reign, you're welcome to try. Ravens screamed approval. Pillars sang. One by one, every wolf, including my family, including Theon, dropped to their knees. Long live the king. Long live the queen. But as they dispersed, I caught something in Lucian's eyes. Knowledge unshared. A secret. What aren't you telling me? His smile was gentle, but his eyes held storms. Awakening your power was easy. Keeping Itand you alive when other kingdoms learn what you are, that's where our real story begins. Thunder rolled across clear skies. Ravens took flight. And somewhere distant, I heard howls of things not quite wolves, welcoming their lost daughter home. The testing began at dawn. I woke to my bedroom transformed. Where elegant furniture stood, raw forests now grew. Ancient trees cracked through marble, moss-covered walls. In the canopy above, the Forgotten watched with eyes like dying stars. Interesting decor, I said, proud my voice didn't shake, though I prefer floors without splinters. A laugh echoed from everywhere and nowhere. Not human, not animal, something between that prickled my skin. The last moonweaver cried, a voice whispered. Begged. Broke. The last moonweaver wasn't me. I stood, grateful for my nightgown. Are we doing this here? Or somewhere with better lighting? Silence. Then the world shifted. I stood in an impossible clearing. 3 moons wheeled above in different phases. Silver grass sharp as knives beneath my feet. The forgotten emerged creatures of terrible beauty. Part wolf, part raven, part woman, part shadow. Every moonweaver must prove worth, the largest said. Beautiful once, before time and power twisted her beyond mortal comprehension. Bloodline means nothing if spirit is weak. Define weak. I've been called that before. Funny how I'm still standing. She smiled. Too many teeth. Brave words. Let's see if power matches tongue. First test. Control. Air shimmered. Figures materialized. Theon, young and handsome. My father, disappointed. Vera, sneering. Still broken, false, Theon said. Pretending you're special. Worthless girl, father added. Should have drowned you at birth. Barren waste, Vera hissed. Taking space meant for real wolves. They circled. Words a familiar symphony. But something was different. Words that once cut deep now merely annoyed. This is the best you can do? I asked. Phantoms of people whose opinions stopped mattering when they sold me? The figures shifted recent wounds? Noble ladies whispering. Guards suspicious. Even Lucian. Cold calculation replacing warmth. She's a fraud, Phantom, Lucian said. I needed a symbol. Did she really think a king could love something so damaged? That stung, but I noticed his power signature was wrong flat. Not the real darkness, with silver lightning. You're not him, I said. You're my fear's given form, and I don't care. Power burst from me. Silver light burned phantoms away. The forgotten stumbled back. Surprised. Impressive, she admitted. But control isn't just power. It's restraint. Second test. Compassion. The clearing became my burning village. Wolves ravaged streets, tearing apart those who couldn't shift. Screams mixed with howls. A child ran past, pursued by a massive wolf. I moved between them. The wolf skidded to a halt, snarling. Move, Moonweaver. This is natural order. Strong consume weak. Natural order? I laughed without humor. Nothing natural about slaughter. Make me. Power coiled, begging release. I could destroy this wolf. The old me wanted to. But, no. I knelt at the wolf's level. I won't fight, but I won't move. If you want that child, go through me. When you taste my blood, you'll taste truth. Strength without mercy is just another weakness. The wolf lunged. I closed my eyes. The world dissolved. Back in the silver clearing, the forgotten watched with respect. Most choose violence, she observed. Most haven't spent their lives receiving violence. I know what it does. I won't become what I despise. Final test. Truth. The clearing became a mirror showing truth without mercy. I saw myself truly. Not the queen I played, not the broken woman I'd believed, but real, scared, angry, powerful, vengeful, kind, cruel. All the contradictions that make us human. I saw my real feelings about Thea, not indifference, but deep wounds still bleeding. Hunger for power, not just to help, but to never be helpless. Attraction to Lucian tangled with fear. Desire for connection warring with need for control. This is who you are, the forgotten said. Flawed, angry, damaged. Is this the Moonweaver queen you'd show the world? I stared at my reflection, then smiled. Yes, because perfection is a lie. I am flawed. I am angry. I am damaged. But also strong, kind, learning. I won't pretend perfection. I'll be real. That's what makes me dangerous to those ruling through illusion. The mirror shattered. The clearing dissolved. I stood in my bedroom normal again. 3 forgotten stood in true forms. Ancient and terrible yet less frightening. You pass? The leader said formally. You are acknowledged as true Moonweaver. That's it? No dire warnings? She actually smiled. Almost human. Passing was the pronouncement. Most die or go mad. As for warnings, trust sparingly. Love deeply. Power is tool, not master. And beware the shadow court. The what? But they faded, leaving only otherworld scent and a dissolving black feather. The door burst open. Lucian stood there concerned. Behind him, Morwen and Cain. "You're alive," Lucian said, crossing to me in 3 strides, hands cupping my face. "When the Forgotten took you, I'm fine. They tested me. I passed." "Passed?" Morwen pushed forward. "No one passes their tests in 300 years. Well, they acknowledged me. Also mentioned something about Shadow Court and your grandfather's bargain. Care to explain?" Blood drained from Lucian's face. Morwen and Cain exchanged loaded looks. "Perhaps we should sit." "No. No sitting. Just truth. What bargain?" After a long moment, he spoke with old shame. "When my grandfather took the throne, the Shadowmourne line was weak. He made a bargain for power." "With?" "The Shadow Court. Things existing between light and dark. In exchange for real power reach, Shadowmourne ruler must pay a tithe." "What kind?" But I already knew from his expression. "The firstborn child of each generation," he said quietly. "Given on their 16th birthday. So are children." My voice came out hollow. "Our firstborn would belong to them." Lucian's voice matched mine. "I thought we'd have time. Maybe find a way to break it before I got pregnant with a child you'd have to give away." I laughed, sharp and bitter. "Good thing I'm Barren. Saves us that problem." "Lyra." "No." I stood, power crackling. "You knew this. Knew and claimed me anyway. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Or did it not matter because I couldn't have children?" "I thought we could fix it," he said desperately. "With your power. You thought you could use me. Cold, controlled, but inside I screamed. Use my power to break your family's curse. Is that why you wanted a Moonweaver? Not love, not partnership, but as a tool? That's not." He reached for me, but I stepped back. "Don't." Power rolled off me, rattling windows. "Everyone wants to use the Moonweaver. My family sold me. Nobles want control. The Forgotten want tests. And you want me to fix your problems." I pushed past him, needing space. Palace corridors blurred as I ran, servants scattering. I found myself in the gardens as sun rose. "Your Majesty?" I spun to find Selena on a bench, her silver-eyed baby in her arms. She looked tired but peaceful. "Couldn't sleep?" I asked, anger draining at the innocent child's sight. "He's restless. Old blood makes them dream differently. He sees things not yet happened." I sat beside her, containing unstable power. "Has Morwen been helping?" "More than helping. Teaching me about his heritage." Selena smiled. "I spent so long hating you. My perfect brother's imperfect wife. Blamed you for his unhappiness. And now I realize you were the only honest thing in his life. He surrounded himself with people who said what he wanted. You told truth. He couldn't handle that." She adjusted the baby's blanket. "I named him Ash. The tree that bridges worlds." "Perfect," I said, meaning it. "Lyra, can I ask, was it worth it? Everything to get here?" I thought carefully. Yesterday, I'd have said yes instantly. But now, knowing Lucian's hidden motives, the Shadow Court's claim, tests, and dangers ahead, I don't know. "Ask me in a year," she laughed. "Fair, but I'm glad you're here. Ash is too. For once I have hope he'll grow up in a world that won't fear what he is." The baby reached for me. When I gave my hand, power sparked between us, gentle, warm. He gurgled happily, easing something in my chest. "Your Majesty," Cain appeared. "The king requests your presence." "Noble houses gather for morning court." "Of course they do." I stood, squaring shoulders. "Tell His Majesty I'll attend shortly." After dressing appropriately, Cain departed. I looked at my nightgown, then Selena. "Advice for facing people who probably want me dead?" She grinned, showing family resemblance to Theon but genuine where his was calculated. "Be exactly yourself. They expect tyrant or victim. Give them neither. Give them a queen who knows her worth." Walking back, I felt weight settling. Shadow Court, Lucian's deception, Noble's expectations, the Forgotten's acknowledgement, but also purpose. I'd been defined by lack so long. Now I could define myself by choices. Morning court awaited. Lucian would be there. We'd face each other across the gulf of secrets. Nobles would test, probe for weakness. Let them. I'd been tested by beings older than memory, faced deepest truths without breaking, discovered betrayal where I'd hoped for belonging and still stood. I was Lyra, last Moonweaver. Queen, because I chose myself. Anyone thinking that made me weak would learn otherwise. The dynamic between Lucian and me had shifted, no longer just newfound mates. Two people with secrets, agendas, bloodlines pulling different directions. But fine. I'd navigated complicated dynamics my whole life. The difference now, I had power to shape outcomes. And shape them I would, Shadow Court be damned. Morning Court was a battlefield disguised as civilization. I entered through main doors, dressed in twilight fabric shifting purple to midnight blue. The star and shadow crown sat heavy. Her Majesty, Queen Lyra Shadowmorn, first of her name, last of the Moonweavers, the herald announced. Every eye tracked my movement. Lucian sat in black, expression unreadable. The space between us felt like a chasm. I took my seat without looking at him. Lord Aldrich of the Mountain Clans, the herald continued. A grizzled wolf stepped forward, bowing perfectly incorrect. Your Majesties, interesting developments. The Moonweavers return after centuries. One wonders what other surprises await. Those who pay attention to signs aren't surprised, I replied, letting power thread my voice subtly. The wise prepare. The foolish cling to outdated assumptions. His eyes sharpened. And which am I, Your Majesty? That depends entirely on your next words. He smiled, recognizing the test. Then let me speak plainly. The mountain clans have long memories. We remember when Moonweavers walked freely, when the old ways were honored. We would welcome their return. Truth or trap? I studied him, then made a choice. Those who remember the old ways understand they required balance. Not dominance of magic over wolf or wolf over human, but harmony. Are the mountain clans prepared for such change? Change is the only constant, Majesty. We adapt or perish. Wise words. I inclined my head slightly. The crown acknowledges the mountain clan's wisdom. One potential ally gained, or enemy revealing itself slowly. Time would tell. The morning continued, each noble testing, probing. But something had shifted. Where yesterday they'd shown fear or calculation, today held something else. Curiosity. Some genuine, some dangerous. All reassessing. Fascinating, Lucian murmured during a brief pause. They're actually listening to you. Did you expect otherwise? I kept my voice neutral. I expected resistance. Instead, you're weaving them into your web without them realizing. I learned from the best manipulator I know. I let him hear the edge. You. He flinched, but recovered. Lyra, about this morning. Not here. I cut him off. We have an audience. Perform your part, Your Majesty. I'll perform mine. The rest of court passed in careful dance. By the end, I'd identified 3 potential allies, 5 certain enemies, and dozen waiting to see which way winds blew. Progress. But Lucian's betrayal sat like poison between us. Trust, once broken, wasn't easily repaired. Still, I'd survived worse, been broken by smaller betrayals. This too I would navigate. The Shadow Court loomed. Other kingdoms would learn of my existence. Tests would come harder and faster. But today, I'd proved something to myself. I didn't need anyone's validation. Not Lucian's, not the nobles, not even the forgottens. I was enough, exactly as I was. Flawed, angry, powerful, real. And that terrified them more than any perfect queen ever could. Days blurred into a strange rhythm. By day, I held court and navigated political waters. By night, Lucian and I performed the perfect royal couple, while the Shadow Court's threat hung between us like a blade. You can't avoid me forever, he said one evening, catching me in the library I'd claimed as sanctuary. I'm not avoiding you. I'm protecting myself. I didn't look up from the ancient text about Shadow Court bargains. There's a difference. Lyra, please. Let me explain. Explain what? That you saw a broken woman and thought perfect. She can't have children anyway? So the Shadow Court can't claim them? Or did you hope my power could break your curse before that became an issue? He sank into the chair across from me. For once, the perfect king looked haggard. Both. Neither. It's complicated. Then uncomplicated. I dreamed of you, he said quietly. Since I was 7, the seeing pool showed me a brown-eyed woman who'd become silver-eyed. My mate. My equal. When Cain found you, I knew. So you collected me like a tool. No. His voice turned fierce. I recognized you. Yes. I hoped we could break the bargain. Yes. Your inability to have children seemed like fate's kindness. But Lyra, he leaned forward, I would have claimed you regardless. Barren or fertile. Powerful or powerless. Because you're mine, and I'm yours. And that truth runs deeper than any curse. I wanted to believe him, but trust, once shattered. Pretty words, I said finally. But words are what got me here. I need actions. Then let me act. There's a gathering tomorrow. The Eastern Lords arrive to pay respects. Really? They're testing our bond. Looking for cracks. Show them unity, even if you don't feel it yet. I considered. Political necessity warred with personal hurt. But I was queen now. Personal feelings came second to duty. Fine, but we do this my way. The next evening showcased the double life I'd learned to navigate. Dressed in a gown that seemed woven from moonlight itself, I stood beside Lucian as the Eastern Lords arrived. Lord Vance led them, the same who'd challenged me at my claiming. His daughter, the one Lucian had rejected, accompanied him. Beautiful, fertile, everything I wasn't. Her eyes held venom poorly disguised as courtesy. Your Majesties, Vance bowed. How wonderful to see you both. The kingdom celebrates your unique union. Unique, I repeated, tasting the insult. Yes, I suppose marrying for true compatibility, rather than breeding potential, is unique these days. His daughter, Isabel, stepped forward. Compatibility is certainly important. Though surely children factor into any royal union, the kingdom needs heirs. There it was, the knife wrapped in silk. The kingdom needs strength, I replied smoothly. Heirs come in many forms. Power can be inherited through blood or teaching. Which would you prefer, Lady Isabelia? Weak heir of pure blood, or a strong successor chosen for merit? A false choice, she countered. Why not both? Why indeed? I smiled, letting power subtly charge the air. Perhaps because the universe rarely gives us everything we want, it teaches us to value what we have instead. Lucian's hand found mine political gesture, or genuine support. His thumb traced circles on my palm, and despite everything, warmth bloomed. My queen speaks wisdom, he said. The old ways of succession brought us centuries of weak kings propped up by pure blood. Perhaps it's time for new ways. New ways, Lord Vance mused. Like the return of the Moonweavers? Some say that's merely elaborate theater. That true Moonweavers died out long ago. The challenge was subtle but clear. Prove it, or be labeled fraud. I could have displayed power, cowed them with raw magic. Instead, I chose subtlety. Lord Vance, I said gently. Your youngest Sanhi suffers from moon madness, doesn't he? The healers say it's incurable. His face went rigid. How did you? The old blood recognizes its own ailments. He's not mad. He has dormant Moonweaver heritage, probably from your wife's line. It's trying to manifest, but can't find proper channels. I released Lucian's hand, stepping toward Vance. I could help him. Would you like me to prove the Moonweaver's return by healing what your healers cannot? The hall went silent. Vance's careful mask cracked, showing desperate father beneath political player. You could do that? Bring him tomorrow, privately. We'll see what's possible. I let kindness color my voice. Whatever else divides us, Lord Vance, no child should suffer for their heritage. The gathered nobles exchanged glances. In one move, I'd shifted from defending to offering, from question to questioner, from potential fraud to potential savior. Your Majesty's kindness is unexpected, Isabel said carefully. Is it? Perhaps you've been listening to the wrong stories about me. I accepted a wine glass from a passing servant. I find people often fear what they don't understand. Tell me, Lady Isabel, what do you fear? She blinked, caught off guard. I fear nothing, Your Majesty. Nothing. How terrifying that must be. I sipped my wine. Fear keeps us human. I fear many things. Letting down those who depend on me. Becoming what others tried to make me. Losing those I've learned to care for. My eyes found Lucian briefly. But I've learned fear can be a teacher if we let it. And what has it taught you? Another lord asked, genuinely curious now. That broken things can be reforged stronger. That power without purpose is just destruction waiting to happen. That sometimes our greatest weaknesses become our greatest strengths, if we're brave enough to embrace them. Pretty philosophy, Isabel said, recovering. But the kingdom needs more than words. Then it's fortunate I offer more than words. I set down my glass. Tomorrow, Lord Vance's son. Next week, I'll hold open court for any with old blood ailments. The week after, we'll discuss reforming the laws that keep humans as second-class citizens. Actions, Lady Isabel. Judge me by those. The evening continued, but something had shifted. Where before they'd come to find weakness, now they reassessed. Some with hope, others with calculation, but all with newfound respect. Later, alone on our private balcony, Lucian stood beside me as we watched the Eastern Lord's carriages depart. That was masterful, he said quietly. You turned their attack into opportunity. I learned from watching you, I admitted. The king who makes enemies into allies through unexpected kindness. Is that what we are? Enemies? I turned to study him. Moonlight caught his features, softening the harsh angles. I don't know what we are. The mate bond pulls me toward you, but trust. Trust takes time to rebuild. I have time, he said simply. All the time you need. What about the Shadow Court? Do we have time before they come collecting? His jaw tightened. I'm working on it. There are old texts, older allies. We'll find a way. We? I challenged. We, he confirmed. Whatever else stands between us, Lyra, we face the Shadow Court together. I won't let them take our children. Children we can't have, I reminded him. Can't? He smiled sadly. You banned that word, remember? The Moonweavers were full of surprises. Who says their last daughter won't surprise us all? I wanted to argue, but exhaustion won. Tomorrow would bring Lord Vance's son and new challenges. The double life of public unity and private distance would continue. But tonight, standing in moonlight with the complicated man who was both my greatest support and deepest betrayal, I allowed myself a moment of peace. Lucian, I said as he turned to leave. Yes? Thank you. For having my back tonight, even when I don't have yours yet. His smile was worth kingdoms. Always, my queen, even when you hate me. Especially then. He left, and I remained on the balcony, watching stars wheel overhead. The double life was exhausting. But perhaps, someday, it might become single truth. Perhaps. Lord Vance arrived at dawn with his son. The boy, barely 15, shook with tremors that had nothing to do with cold. His eyes, when they focused, held swirls of silver among brown. This is Micah, Vance said stiffly. He's been like this for 2 years. Getting worse. I knelt before the boy's chair, ignoring protocol. Hello, Micah. I'm Lyra. Can you hear me? His head jerked, eyes rolling back. When they returned, they blazed full silver. The moon screams, he whispered. Can't you hear her screaming? I hear her, I said gently. She's not screaming, though. She's calling. You just don't know how to answer yet. The healer said he's mad, Vance interjected. That his mind broke during his first shift. The healers are idiots. I stood, addressing Vance directly. Your son isn't mad. He's awakening to dormant Moonweaver blood without guidance. It's like trying to contain an ocean in a teacup. Can you help him? Maybe, but it requires trust and privacy. I glanced meaningfully at the guards. Vance hesitated, then dismissed everyone except himself. Even Lucian, who'd been observing silently, withdrew at my nod. Now, I said, returning to Micah, let's see what you really are. I placed my hands on his temples. Power flowed between us, chaotic in him, controlled in me. I saw his struggle, visions he couldn't understand, power he couldn't channel, a wolf trying to exist alongside something older. Oh, sweet boy, I murmured. No wonder you're in pain. In his mind, I built walls not to contain but to organize, channels for power to flow safely, spaces for wolf and Moonweaver to coexist. It was exhausting work, requiring precision and care. Hours passed. Sweat beaded my forehead. Vance paced, occasionally stopping when Micah cried out. Finally, I pulled back. Micah's eyes opened brown again, but with permanent silver flecks. Clear, sane, whole. Father? His voice came out hoarse but lucid. What happened? I had the strangest dreams. Vance crashed to his knees, gathering his son close. The proud lord wept openly, clutching the child he'd thought lost. Thank you, he said brokenly. Thank you, Your Majesty. I owe you everything. You owe me nothing, I corrected. But Micah will need training. The old blood is stable now, but it must be nurtured. Send him to me twice a week. We'll ensure he grows into his gift safely. Of course. Anything. Vance stood, helping Micah up. The boy moved normally now, tremors gone. Your Majesty, I misjudged you. My loyalty is yours. After they left, I slumped in my chair, drained. Healing broken Moonweaver blood took more than I'd expected. That was extraordinary, Lucian said from the doorway. And politically brilliant. Vance commands 3 lesser houses. You just secured the entire Eastern Alliance. I didn't do it for politics, I said tiredly. That boy was suffering. I know. He crossed to me, hesitating before touching my shoulder. May I? I nodded, too exhausted to maintain walls. His hands were gentle as he massaged tension from my shoulders. You gave him a gift beyond healing, Lucian murmured. You gave him hope. Vance, too. He'd been watching his son die slowly for 2 years. There are others, I said. I can feel them now. Dormant bloodlines scattered across the kingdom. Lost, confused, labeled mad or defective. We'll find them all, he promised. Create a school, maybe. Somewhere they can learn safely. We? I turned to look at him. If you'll let me help. His hands stilled on my shoulders. I know I've broken trust. But watching you today, Lyra, you're everything I dreamed and more. Let me earn my place beside you. Before I could respond, Morwen burst in. Your Majesties, urgent news. The Shadow Court sent an emissary. They're demanding an audience. Ice flooded my veins. Already? They've sensed the old blood awakening, Morwen explained. Multiple dormant lines activating. They want to know why. When? Lucian's voice went hard. Tonight. Midnight. The old throne room. I stood, exhaustion forgotten. Then we'd better prepare. The hours flew too quickly. As midnight approached, we descended to the old throne room, a place I'd never seen. Unlike the grand hall above, this was carved from living rock, older than the castle itself. Shadows gathered at midnight's stroke, coalescing into a figure that wasn't quite solid. Beautiful and terrible, with eyes like void between stars. Shadowmorn, it spoke without moving lips. You've awakened something that should sleep. The Moonweaver blood was never meant to sleep. I stepped forward before Lucian could speak. Only suppressed by those who feared it. The entity turned those void eyes on me. Ah, the last daughter. We wondered when you'd surface. It glided closer. Do you know what you've cost us? Cost you? Every dormant line that awakens is one less potential payment. The bargain specifies firstborn of Shadowmorn blood. But if old blood runs true, if Moonweavers breed again, it smiled, showing too many teeth. The quality of tribute decreases. Understanding dawned horribly. You prefer broken bloodlines. Easier to claim. To corrupt. Clever girl. Yes, we've fed on the dynasty's cast-offs for centuries. But you're changing things. Making them whole. Strong. Useless to us. Then change the bargain. I challenged. Laughter like breaking glass. The bargain is iron. Clad. But perhaps adjustments could be made if you're willing to pay a different price. What price? Lucian demanded. Her. It pointed at me. The last pure moonweaver. Give her to us willingly, and we'll release all future claims. Every Shadowmourne child born free. No. Lucian's refusal came instant. Absolute. Never. I wasn't asking you. The entity said. I'm asking her. Well, little moonweaver, your life for all future generations? Isn't that what heroes do? I stood silent, mind racing. The offer was tempting, solve everything with one sacrifice. But, no, I said finally, because you're lying. Take me, and you'll still come for the children. Just with different excuses. The entity's smile widened. Perhaps, or perhaps not. Willing to risk it? I'm willing to negotiate properly. The old bargain was made in desperation. But powers have shifted. What do you really want? Interesting. It circled us. You'd bargain like equals? Aren't we? You need us as much as we need freedom from you. Otherwise, why appear now? Why not wait until children exist to claim? Silence stretched. Then, 3 nights hence. Bring your proposals. We'll discuss alternatives. It vanished, leaving only cold and the scent of between spaces. That was insanely dangerous, Lucian said, challenging them directly. Got us 3 days, I interrupted. 3 days to find leverage. What leverage could we possibly have? I smiled grimly. They fear awakened moonweavers. There's our starting point. Now come we. Have research to do. As we climbed back to the living castle, I felt something shift. Not trust. Not yet. But partnership. We'd faced the shadow court together, neither sacrificing the other. It was a start. Lyra? Lucian said softly. Thank you. For not taking their offer. Did you think I would? I feared you might. To spare future children pain. I stopped, meeting his eyes. I'm done with noble sacrifices. If we're breaking this bargain, we do it together. No martyrs. No martyrs. He agreed. Together. The word tasted like promise. 3 days. I'd barely slept, hunting through ancient texts for leverage against the Shadow Court. Micah helped, his newly stable gift letting him read languages that hurt normal eyes. Here, he said suddenly, pointing to a passage in a tome that reeked of otherworld. The Shadow Court isn't independent. They answer to something called the Void Mother. The Void Mother? I leaned closer. I've never heard that name, because speaking it draws her attention. Morwen said from the doorway, face grave. Which you've just done. Foolish children. The temperature plummeted. Shadows writhed unnaturally. Then she appeared, not the emissary, but something far older. The Void Mother stood taller than possible, her form constantly shifting between woman and absence. Who dares speak my name? Her voice was the silence between heartbeats. I do. I stood, pushing Micah behind me. Lyra, last of the Moonweavers. Last? She laughed, and windows cracked. Oh, little daughter, you're not the last. Merely the only one they let you know about. My blood froze. What? Did you think the Pax could eradicate an entire bloodline? No, they couldn't kill us all, so they hid us instead. Scattered us, made us forget. She glided closer. Your grandmother wasn't the last. Neither was her mother. There are dozens of pure moonweavers locked away, memory spelled, breeding stock for the Shadow Court's games. You're lying. Am I? She waved a hand. The air shimmered, showing images women with silver eyes and gilded cages. Some young, some old, all bearing the unmistakable mark of pure blood. Hidden across realms, kept docile, bred when useful, discarded when not. Rage built in my chest. Where are they? Safe. Useful. Mine. She studied me. Though you're proving inconvenient. Awakening dormant lines. Teaching control. Making my livestock rebellious. They're not livestock. They're people. My people. Your people? She circled me, and reality bent around her presence. You've known your heritage for what, weeks? They've been mine for centuries. Then I'll take them back. Will you? Amusement colored her terrible voice. And how will little lost Lyra fight the Void Mother? With your barely controlled power? Your king's shadow magic? Your little academy of broken bloodlines? If necessary. She stopped directly before me. This close, I saw the truth. She wasn't just ancient. She was emptiness given hunger. The space between existence that fed on light. Brave words. Here's truth, little moonweaver. Your bloodline exists because I allow it. Every pure blood lives at my sufferance. Challenge me, and I'll drain them all. Leave their husks as warning. You need us alive, I countered, pieces clicking together. That's why you keep them. You feed on our power but can't generate it yourself. Kill us all and you starve. Her perfect composure cracked. Clever, but not clever enough. Yes, I need moonweavers. But I don't need them whole, or sane, or willing. More images women screaming silently, power being pulled from them like thread from a spindle. My stomach churned. So what do you want? I forced steadiness into my voice. Originally? Status quo. Your king's firstborn is scheduled. Occasional drainage from my stock. Balance maintained. She paused. But you're disrupting things. Making waves. So new terms. Stop awakening bloodlines. Stop your little healing crusade. Accept your place in the order of things. And if I refuse, then I'll demonstrate why the packs feared us both. Her form expanded, filling the room with hungry void. I'll drain every drop of power from every hidden moonweaver. Leave their bodies on your doorstep. Make you watch as the bloodline truly dies. You'd destroy your own food source? I'd survive lean centuries to make a point. Would you survive the guilt? Before I could respond, Lucian stepped from shadows I hadn't seen him enter. Enough, the Void Mother turned. Ah, the Shadow King. Come to protect your mate? How touching. How useless. Not protect. Negotiate. He moved beside me, power rolling off him in waves. You want status quo maintained. We want freedom from the bargain. There's middle ground. Is there? She seemed amused. Speak your terms. Release the pure bloods. All of them. In exchange, we'll establish willing tributaries. Moonweavers who give power freely, in measured amounts. Sustainable for you. Survivable for them. Willing cattle? How novel, she considered. And the firstborn clause? Void. Children stay with parents. But in each generation, one will serve as conduit, channeling power to you without being consumed. Lucian, I warned. We hadn't discussed this. Trust me, he murmured. Then louder. Well, you get reliable feeding. We get our people back. Everyone survives. The Void Mother was quiet so long I wondered if time had stopped. Finally, interesting, but trust requires proof. A test of good faith. What test? She smiled. Terrible and beautiful. The Moonweaver comes to my realm. Alone. Sees my livestock. If she can free even one through her own power, I'll consider your proposal. Absolutely not. Lucian said immediately. I'll do it. I said simultaneously. We glared at each other. Lyra? No. It's a trap. Everything's a trap. But those women, me family, they're suffering. I won't leave them. How touching, the Void Mother purred. The broken bird wants to save her flock. Tomorrow midnight. Come alone. Or don't come at all. She vanished, taking the cold with her. I sank into a chair, overwhelmed by revelations. Living moonweavers. Hidden centuries. Fed upon like cattle. You can't go, Lucian said flatly. I have to. It's suicide. Maybe. But I won't abandon them. I met his eyes. Would you abandon your people? His jaw clenched. That's different. How? Because losing you would. He stopped, running hands through his hair. Just don't go. Please, give me another option. Any other option that saves those women. Silence answered me, because we both knew there wasn't one. I'll prepare, I said finally. Research defenses against void entities. Train with Morwen. I have 24 hours to become strong enough to free at least one. And if you can't, then at least I'll have tried. I stood, exhaustion weighing heavy. That's more than anyone's done for them in centuries. I headed for the door, but Lucian caught my arm. Lyra, wait. What? Instead of words, he kissed me. Not the passionate claim of our first public kiss, but something desperate. Like he was trying to memorize me. Come back, he whispered against my lips. Whatever happens in that realm, come back to me. Why? I needed to hear it. After all the secrets, the broken trust, I needed truth. Because I love you, he said simply. Not for your power, not for what you can do for the kingdom. Just you. The woman who laughs at impossible odds, who heals broken children, who challenges entities that could unmake reality, because it's right. My heart cracked. Lucian, I know trust takes time. I know I failed you. But Lyra, if you don't come back, I'll tear apart dimensions to find you. The Shadow Court, the Void Mother, reality itself, nothing will stop me. No martyrs, I reminded him. We promised. No martyrs, he agreed. So come back. We'll face whatever comes together. I kissed him once more, pouring everything I couldn't say into it. Then I left to prepare for war. 24 hours to become strong enough to challenge the Void Mother in her own realm, to free women who'd been prisoners for centuries. To prove the last Moonweaver was worth more than all who'd come before. No pressure at all. Midnight arrived like an executioner. I stood in the old throne room, dressed in armor Morwen had found Moonweaver battle gear from centuries past, silver mesh that sang with protective enchantments. Last chance to reconsider, Lucian said. He'd stayed with me all day, helping prepare, teaching shadow defenses. Neither of us mentioned it might be our last day together. You know I can't. I checked the weapons at my belt, silver daggers that could cut between realms. Crystals charged with raw moonlight. Then I'm coming with... No. I touched his face gently. She said alone. Break that condition, and those women die. I hate this, he said roughly. Hate sending you into danger I can't share. Now you know how I felt about the Shadow Court secret. The words came out softer than intended. Helpless. Angry. Terrified for someone you... Someone you what? His eyes searched mine. Someone I love, I admitted. Despite everything. Because of everything. I love you too. His breath caught. Lyra. The air tore. The Void Mother appeared, smile sharp as winter. Touching. But time's up. Come, little Moonweaver. Your family awaits. She extended a hand that wasn't quite there. I took it, feeling reality slip away like water. The last thing I saw was Lucian reaching for me as dimensions folded. Then nothing. Then everything. I stood in a place that defied description. Not darkness implied the absence of light. This was the absence of existence itself. Only the Void Mother's will gave it shape, and that shape was horror. Cages stretched endlessly. Each held a woman, some barely older than children, others ancient beyond measure. All had silver eyes. All stared at nothing with the blank gaze of the soul broken. Behold your heritage, the Void Mother said. 43 pure bloods. Some taken as infants, some bred here. All mine. I approached the nearest cage. The woman inside couldn't have been 30, but her eyes held centuries of emptiness. When I touched the bars, she flinched. Hello, I whispered. I'm Lyra. I'm here to... No one comes, she interrupted, voice rusty from disuse. Only the hunger comes. Always the hunger. How long? I asked the Void Mother. How long has she been here? Time moves differently in my realm. She's been mine for 50 years? 100? Does it matter? Rage built in my chest. Their names. Tell me their names. Names? She laughed. They're numbered. Easier to track inventory that way. I moved from cage to cage, fury growing with each blank stare. These women were me what I could have been. Sold, discarded, forgotten. But where I'd found power, they'd found only endless consumption. Choose quickly, the Void Mother prompted. Which one will you try to save? You get one attempt. I studied each cage, looking for any spark of awareness. Near the back, I found Hera girl who couldn't be 16, newer than the rest. Her eyes still held defiance beneath the emptiness. That one, I decided. 37? The Void Mother seemed amused. Taken last winter. Still fights during feedings. Amusing but tiresome. Very well. The cage dissolved. The girl 37 stumbled out, legs weak from confinement. I caught her, feeling the echoes of drained power in her bones. What's your real name? I asked gently. I don't. She shook her head. Mira. I think. Everything's foggy. Mira. I gripped her shoulders. I'm going to get you out, but I need you to trust me. Trust? She laughed brokenly. I trusted my parents. They sold me to men who brought me here. My story. All our stories. The eternal song of women deemed worthless. Then don't trust me, I said. Trust yourself. Trust the power they couldn't quite steal. It's still there, buried deep. Help me find it. I placed my hands on her temples, diving into the wreckage of her mind. The Void Mother had been thorough walls everywhere, channels blocked, power siphoned but not destroyed. They needed the source intact to feed from. This won't work, the Void Mother observed. I've had months to break her. You have minutes. I ignored her, focusing on Mira's core. There a spark of silver, wrapped in so many barriers, it looked like a dark pearl. I began unweaving, using techniques Morwen taught me. But each barrier I removed, 2 more appeared. The Void Mother's work was masterful, cruel, efficient. Give up, she suggested. Accept the natural order. Some are predators. Some are prey. No. I dug deeper, power flowing from me to Mira. We're not prey. We're not cattle. Pain exploded through me. The Void Mother had struck, her touch draining. I felt my power being pulled away, exactly as she'd done to countless moonweavers. Foolish child, she crooned. You think you're special? Different? You're just the next meal. But as my power drained, something unexpected happened. It hit Mira's barriers from inside. Pressure building. The stolen power recognized its sister, responded to its call. No, the Void Mother hissed. That's not possible. I pushed harder, letting her drain me. My power flooded into Mira, overwhelming the carefully constructed barriers. They shattered like spun glass. Mira screamed. Silver light exploded from her, raw and uncontrolled but free. The nearest cages rattled. Other women stirred, sensing change. Stop, the Void Mother commanded. You'll destabilize everything. Good, I gasped, falling to my knees. The drain was agony, but Mira was glowing now, her power returning in a rush. I remember, Mira whispered. I remember who I am. What I am, what they took. She turned to the Void Mother, and for the first time in centuries that ancient entity stepped back. You fed on us, Mira said, voice gaining strength. Made us forget, made us weak. But she gestured to me. She reminded me. Power shared multiplies. Power hoarded diminishes. You forgot that, parasite. Careful, child, the Void Mother warned. I could unmake you with a thought. Could you? I struggled to my feet, supported by Mira. Or have you grown dependent on easy feeding? When did you last face a moonweaver who remembered her strength? The Void Mother's form flickered just for a moment, but we all saw it. Doubt. Fear. The predator realizing the prey had teeth. This changes nothing, she said, but her voice held less certainty. One freed among dozens. You've proved nothing. I've proved they can be freed, I countered. That your hold isn't absolute. That given time and help, Every woman here could reclaim herself. Time you don't have. Our bargain was won. You've freed one. Now leave. Actually, Mira said, silver eyes blazing, I think we'll renegotiate. Power burst from her wild, uncontrolled, furious. It slammed into nearby cages, cracking them. The women inside stirred more. Ancient programming fighting new possibility. Stop her! The Void Mother shrieked, but her command held panic now. Mira's power lashed out, fueled by decades of suppressed rage. Each strike weakened more cages. Women who'd been empty shells began blinking, awareness creeping back. You took everything? Mira snarled. Our names, our memories, our power. But you left the core, and cores remember. The Void Mother struck, dark tendrils wrapping around Mira. But I intervened, my depleted power still enough to shield. We stood back to back, two moonweavers against the hunger of void. Enough. The Void Mother's form expanded, filling the non-space with terrible presence. You want war? I'll show you why your ancestors surrendered. Reality twisted. Pain beyond description flooded through me. But in that agony, I felt something else. The other women responding. 41 caged moonweavers sensing the battle, their buried powers stirring. Feel that? I gasped to Mira. They're waking up. Impossible, the Void Mother snarled. But we heard the doubt. One cage cracked, then another. Women who'd been prisoners for centuries began remembering who they were beneath the hunger's touch. Enough. The Void Mother's voice shattered several cages completely. Leave. Now. Take your freed pet and go, or I'll drain you both to husks. I wanted to fight for all of them. But Mira was weakening, her newfound power burning too hot. And the Void Mother, despite her fear, still commanded this realm. This isn't over, I promised the waking women. I'll come back. We'll come back. All of us, free and strong. Empty promises, the Void Mother hissed, but her certainty was cracking. She gestured sharply. Reality folded. Mira and I tumbled through dimensions, landing hard on the throne room floor. Lyra! Lucian was there instantly, pulling me into his arms. You're alive. Who is this? Mira, I managed. One of many. We have to go back. The others are where they've been for centuries. The Void Mother's voice echoed without form. But you've made your point. Let's discuss new terms. She materialized. Smaller now, controlled but visibly shaken. You disrupted my realm, cracked cages that held for lifetimes. That shouldn't be possible. Moonweaver power shared multiplies, I said, steadying myself against Lucian. You forgot that, feeding on isolated women. But together? We're stronger than your hunger. Perhaps. She studied Mira, who glared back defiantly. Very well. New bargain. I released them all of the mover time. 1 per month. In exchange, the Shadowmourn Firstborn Clause transfers to voluntary service. Each generation provides one willing conduit for a year. No permanent damage. All of them freed immediately, I countered. Voluntary service, yes, but only 6 months. And they choose when. You're hardly in a position. 41 moonweavers, I interrupted. Awakening. Angry. How long before they break free themselves? How long before they come for you? Silence stretched taut. Finally, 20 per year, voluntary service of 9 months. Final offer. I looked at Mira, at Lucian, at Morwyn, who'd appeared in the doorway. All nodded. Deal, I said, but I choose the release order, and they come to me, not dispersed. Agreed. The Void Mother's smile was bitter. You've won this round, little queen, but power has prices. Remember that when your gathered sisters want more than freedom. She vanished. I collapsed, exhaustion hitting like a mountain. But Mira caught me, her strength returning. Thank you, she whispered, for reminding me who I am. Thank you, I replied, for being brave enough to remember. The next hours blurred, healers tending wounds. Mira settling into guarded quarters, messages sent about incoming refugees, and through it all, Lucian never left my side. You did it, he said quietly as dawn broke. You actually did it. We did it, I corrected. Your negotiation bought us room to breathe. 20 moonweavers a year. 20 powerful, traumatized women looking for purpose. He squeezed my hand. Ready to lead them? No, I admitted. But I'll learn. We'll learn. Together. Together, he agreed. But even as hope bloomed, I couldn't forget the Void Mother's warning. Power has prices. And 43 moonweavers, freed after centuries of torment, would want more than just sanctuary. They'd want revenge, justice, revolution, and honestly, I couldn't blame them. The real challenge wasn't freeing them. It was what came next. 6 months passed. 20 moonweavers now called the palace home, each recovery a delicate process. Some, like Mira, reclaimed themselves quickly. Others remained shadows, power freed but spirits still caged. She won't eat. Selena reported about the latest arrival, a woman named Celia, who'd been captive for 2 centuries. Just stares at walls. Give her time, I advised, though my heart ached. And keep Ash near. The children helped them remember joy. My makeshift academy had grown. Dormant bloodlines came seeking training. Freed moonweavers learned control. Even some nobles sent daughters, finally accepting that power came in many forms. But tonight, larger concerns loomed. The Grand Assembly, every pack leader, kingdom representative, and allied territory gathered to witness something unprecedented. Nervous? Lucian asked, adjusting my crown. We'd grown closer these months. Trust rebuilding slowly but surely. Terrified, I admitted. We're asking them to overturn centuries of law, to accept moonweavers as equals, to embrace what they've feared. They'll listen. You've proven our worth 20 times over. Have I? Or am I just the current novelty? He turned me to face him. You're the queen who healed their children, who freed the enslaved, who negotiated with entities they couldn't even name. Trust yourself. A knock interrupted. Your Majesties, Kane announced. They're ready. The throne room had been transformed, no longer just Shadowmourn's seat of power, but a gathering place for all bloodlines. Moonweaver banners hung beside pack sigils. The rescued women stood along one wall, me sisters, in all but blood. I took my throne, Lucian beside me. The crowd fell silent. Lords and ladies, I began, voice carrying. 6 months ago, you witnessed something you believed impossible. Tonight, I ask you to witness something harder change. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. For centuries, packs have ruled through strength and conformity. Bloodlines deemed valuable or worthless based on narrow definitions. Tonight, that ends. Lord Vance stood. Your Majesty, while we appreciate your unique contributions, surely you're not suggesting. I'm not suggesting anything, I interrupted. I'm declaring. From this night forward, discrimination based on bloodline abilities is illegal. Human, wolf, moonweaver, or dormantal are equal under law. The room erupted. Shouts of outrage, surprise, some support. I let it wash over me, waiting. Silence, Lucian commanded, power rippling out. The room stilled. Your queen speaks. I know this seems radical, I continued, but look around. Lord Vance, your son thrives because we embraced his difference. Lady Chen, your daughter's madness was dormant moonweaver blood. She now leads healing circles. Lord Rodriguez, your weak nephew commands shadow magic that rivals ancient masters. Each named individual straightened, living proof of my words. But more than that, I stood, power unfurling. We faced threats beyond pack borders. The Void Mother was just the beginning. Ancient powers stir, drawn by our changing world. We need every gift, every bloodline, every difference united. Pretty words, Lord Blackwater sneered, Theon's father. Still bitter. But power structures exist for reasons. The strong lead, the weak follow. Nature's law. Nature's law? I laughed. Then let's discuss nature. Mira? She stepped forward, power crackling. 200 years ago, I was weak. sold for having fits. Those fits? Moonweaver awakening. The Void Mother fed on me for decades. Yet, I survived. Weak or wrongly defined? One example, Blackwater began. Shall we make it 20? I gestured to my freed sisters. Each has a story. Each was discarded. Each survived horrors you can't imagine. Weak or tempered by trials you were too strong to face. What do you want from us? A younger lord asked. Truly? Acceptance. Integration. Children taught all bloodlines have value. Laws protecting the vulnerable instead of exploiting them. Unity. And if we refuse? I smiled coldly. Then you'll face the future alone. The Moonweavers won't disappear again. We won't hide. We'll build our own communities, our own power structures. And when the ancient threats come, and they will, Kome don't ask for our help. Silence stretched. Then, unexpectedly, Theon stood. Older now, humbled by years. She's right, he said quietly. I speak as one who learned too late. I threw away treasure because it didn't match my expectations. Don't repeat my mistakes. His father turned purple. You dare. I dare speak truth. Theon met my eyes. I was wrong. The packs were wrong. If we don't change, we'll face extinction not from enemies, but from our own blindness. One by one, others stood. Vance first, then Chen, Rodriguez. Younger lords who'd seen change work, older ones who'd witnessed their grandchildren thrive under new ways. Not all. Blackwater and his allies remained seated, faces dark with rage. But enough. More than enough. Then let's vote, I declared. All in favor of the integration laws? Hands rose. A clear majority. The measure passes, Lucian announced. From this night, all bloodlines stand equal. But even as hope soared, I caught movement in the shadows. Assassins moving fast. Silver blades aimed at the freed Moonweavers. No! I moved without thinking, power exploding outward. But I wasn't alone. Every Moonweaver responded instantly. 21 women who'd survived the Void Mother's hunger weren't helpless victims. Light blazed. Attackers flew backward. In seconds, the assassination attempt became a statement. We weren't weak, we weren't victims. We were power incarnate, and we protected our own. Anyone else? I asked the shocked assembly. Any other demonstrations needed? Blackwater's face showed calculation replacing rage. Even he could count power when it blazed before him. The integration laws stand, he said grudgingly. The pacts, accept. Not embrace, not celebrate, but accept. For now, enough. As the assembly dispersed, Lucian pulled me close. That was either brilliant or insane. Both, I admitted, but necessary. Change never comes gently. No, he agreed. But you've started something that can't be stopped. Ready for what comes next? I looked at my sister's freed women already planning, teaching, building, at the mixed bloodlines mingling freely, at a future being born from the ashes of tradition. No, I said honestly, but that's never stopped me before. He laughed, kissing my temple. My revolutionary queen, what would I do without you? Rule alone and make terrible decisions, I teased. Undoubtedly. His expression grew serious. Lyra, there's something I need to ask. With the Shadow Court bargain amended, and the integration laws passed, my heart skipped. Was he? Your Majesties. A messenger burst in. Ships on the horizon, flying the Crimson Empire's flag. The moment shattered. The Crimson Empire ancient enemies who'd outlawed all magic centuries ago. Of course they'd come now, when we'd shown our power openly. How many? Lucian demanded. 50 warships, Majesty. And more coming. I met Lucian's eyes. The proposal would wait. War had come to our doorstep. But as I looked at my gathered sisters, at unified bloodlines standing together, I smiled grimly. They wanted war? They'd get it, but not the war they expected. Not against divided packs and hidden Moonweavers, against something new, something unified. Something they'd never faced before. Let them come. The Crimson Empire's armada darkened our harbor. Their admiral's terms were simple: surrender all moonweavers for execution, or watch the kingdom burn. Predictable, I said, studying war maps with my council. They fear what they can't control. We can't match their numbers, Kane reported. 50 warships, each carrying 100 soldiers, against our, what? 1,000 wolves and 21 moonweavers? 22, Mira corrected. Celia broke through last night. She's ready to fight. I smiled. Another sister reclaimed, but Kane was right, numbers weren't in our favor. Your Majesty, Lord Vance entered, surprisingly humble. The Eastern Pacts offer alliance, all of them. Your healing of our children hasn't been forgotten, and the Northern clans stand with you, Lady Chen added, as do the Western territories. Hope bloomed. Even Blackwater? Even him, Vance confirmed. Faced with foreign invasion, Pack loyalty runs deep. We might squabble internally, but outsiders threatening our own? Never. How many? Lucian asked. 8,000 wolves, 2,000 human auxiliaries, and, Vance hesitated, 15 dormant bloodlines requesting activation. They want to fight as moonweavers. My sisters and I exchanged glances. Awakening dormant lines took time, energy. But in war, every advantage mattered. Bring them, I decided. We'll do what we can. The next 3 days blurred. Awakening ceremonies, strategy sessions, the Crimson Admiral's increasingly aggressive demands. But something else happened to Onity. True unity. Wolves worked beside moonweavers. Humans trained with mixed bloods. Old prejudices crumbled beneath shared purpose. Everything I'd dreamed, forged in crisis. Dawn of the 4th day brought the inevitable. They're attacking, scouts reported. Landing boats approaching all beaches. Then we meet them, I declared. Not as separate packs or bloodlines. As one people. The first wave hit the beaches at sunrise. Crimson soldiers in their anti-magic armor, carrying weapons designed to disrupt supernatural powers. They expected easy victory against magical degenerates. They didn't expect us. I stood at the center of our line, my sisters flanking me. Behind us, wolves in human form waited for the signal. The enemy charged, confident in their numbers and technology. Now, I whispered. 22. Moonweavers raised their hands as one. Power erupted, not individual strikes, but woven together, multiplied exponentially. The beach itself responded, sand becoming glass, waves rising impossibly high. The crimson front line shattered. Advance, Lucian commanded. Wolves shifted mid-charge. 8,000 predators hit the disrupted enemy like a tide of fang and fury. But more impressive were the mixed units' dormant bloodlines fighting beside full wolves, humans with silver-touched weapons supporting both. Yet the Empire had come prepared. Their second wave carried heavier disruptors, shields that scattered magic. They regrouped quickly, discipline replacing surprise. Your Majesty! Selena appeared, ash in her arms despite the danger. He's glowing. The baby was indeed glowing, silver light pulsing with each heartbeat. Other Moonweaver children throughout the kingdom would be doing the same, I realized, responding to the massive power output. The children, I breathed. They're amplifying us. Not fighting, they were too young, but their untrained power sought outlet, found it in strengthening their elders. Every Moonweaver felt it, strength doubling, tripling. Impossible! The Crimson Admiral snarled from his flagship. Magic has limits. Your magic might, I called back, voice carrying impossibly far. But we're not using magic. We're using birthright, legacy, the power you tried to extinct. I reached deeper, feeling not just my sisters, but every drop of old blood in the kingdom responding. The network Lucian and I had built, now bearing fruit. Together, I commanded. What happened next would be debated by historians for centuries. Some called it miracle, others, evolution. I called it inevitable. Every Moonweaver, dormant or active, young or old, linked. Power flowed between us like shared blood. The wolves felt it too, their own magic intertwining with ours. Even humans touched by proximity found themselves connected. We were no longer individuals. We were legion. The sky itself cracked. Reality bent. The Crimson Fleet found themselves not in water but suspended in air, held by collective will. Their disruption technology, designed for individual targets, overloaded instantly. Yield, I commanded, and my voice was the voice of thousands, or be removed. The Admiral, dangling hundreds of feet above water, yielded, but victory wasn't in their surrender. It was in what came after. We could destroy you, I announced, still speaking with unified voice. Erase your empire for threatening our children, but we're not you. We don't extinct what we fear. Slowly, carefully, we lowered their ships to water, disabled but not destroyed, defeated but not dead. Go home, I continued. Tell your emperor what you've seen. Magic isn't dying, it's evolving. And if you come again, we won't be merciful twice. They fled. As our connection gradually released, I found myself on my knees, Lucian supporting me. Around us, wolves howled victory. Moonweavers embraced. Humans cheered, not as separate peoples but as one. You did it, Lucian murmured. True, unity. We did it, I corrected, then smiled. Though I could sleep for a week. Later, he said. First, I believe we were interrupted earlier. My heart stuttered as he knelt beside me. From his pocket came a ring knot, elaborate, just silver and shadow twisted together. Lyra, he began, you've shattered every expectation, broken every barrier, united the impossible. Will you do one more impossible thing and marry me? Properly this time? Not for politics or bloodlines, but because I love you? Through exhaustion, joy bloomed. Yes. The cheer that rose could probably be heard in the Crimson Empire. 5 years later, I stood on the same beach where we'd won our freedom. But now, instead of blood in the sand, children played wolf pups and moonweaver babies and human youngsters, all together. Mama! A voice called. I turned to see my daughter running toward me, silver eyes bright with excitement. Look what I can do! She held out her hands. Light danced between them, not pure moonweaver silver or shadow-worn darkness, but something new, something unprecedented. Beautiful Luna, I praised, scooping her up. But remember, power is for protecting, not showing off, she recited. I know, Mama. Behind her, her twin brother Dusk practiced shadow, walking with Lucian. Both our children, miracles the healers couldn't explain. The Barren woman who'd given the kingdom heirs. Your Majesty? Mira approached, now my closest advisor. The 42nd Moonweaver arrives tomorrow. Only one left. Only one sister still trapped. But she'd be free soon. The Void Mother kept her bargains grudgingly. And the new territories? I asked. 3 more kingdoms request alliance. Word spread soonity makes us stronger than division ever could. I smiled, watching our mixed families play. 5 years ago, I'd been sold for 30 silver, told I was worthless, broken, barren. Now I was queen, mother, uniter of bloodlines, breaker of old ways. But most importantly, I was myself. Not despite my supposed flaws, but because of them. They'd shaped me, strengthened me, led me here. Mama? Luna asked. Why are you crying? Happy tears, Moonbeam, I assured her. Sometimes joy is too big for just smiling. Lucian joined us, Dusk on his shoulders. The council can wait, he declared. Family beach day is sacred. The king skipping duty? I teased. Scandalous. The king is learning priorities from his queen, he replied, kissing me softly. And she's usually right. Usually? Always, he corrected, laughing. As we played in the sand, our children shrieking with delight, I thought of that scared woman in her father's kitchen. If she could see this, see who she'd become, what she'd built, the love she'd found, would she believe it? Probably not. It was too fantastical, too impossible, too perfect for someone worthless. But that was the best part. The broken bird hadn't just learned to fly. She taught others they had wings too. And together, they'd soared beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Sometimes, the universe really did have bigger plans. Sometimes, being sold for silver led to treasures beyond gold. Sometimes, the very things that made you worthless were what made you priceless. I was living proof. The end.